through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through.
Salutations, swinger of axes, smasher of maces, and sword masters of old, and welcome to Fumble Through.
Fumble Through!
A podcast that once fumbled with a Vorpal sword, cut off its own head, and then realised it had the head-regenerating power of the Hydra deep inside. Join us for another instalment of this adventure, following the comings and goings of Flopsy, Miles, and Reg as they rise above their rank and treat all others with disdain-like diplomacy. And coming in from Space Sector 24G in the Skartic system, this week's social news...
I don't get that reference.
I've got no idea where we're at now. I was good till Hydra head.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra.
I don't get that reference, but I'll do this one in an ASMR.
I was hoping you'd be a spaceman.
I didn't understand the reference. Anyway, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We have a cool Facebook group where you can make comments and we can talk about cool stuff.
This is Brett listening to Facebook.
It's always a pleasure getting around the table of wonder here deep in the bowels of the Fumble Factory. And one of my favourite bits, as always, is to ask you guys questions that only a true geek would be able to understand. Indeed, if you, the listener, think you've come up with a dicey questions that will stump, perplex, bewilder, or even drive us to division, hit us up on social media and let us know. This week's dicey question is, who is your favourite fictional rogue?
Okay.
Can we qualify what a rogue is in this context of this question?
I'm
please?
hoping you will in your answer.
I'm going to go with Kylar Stern from the Night Angel trilogy.
Okay.
I mean, he goes from many names, but that's the one that I'll use.
You do love that book, don't you?
I love that author. Brent Weeks is amazing, but Night Angel
I
trilogy.
haven't read the Night Angel trilogy.
Great. He's like he's an assassin basically. They eventually, spoiler alert, they get a little bit of magical powers going on, and
You have read the Night Angel trilogy. That's the one with the boy who grows up as an orphan and he gets beaten up by the guy who owns the orphanage thing, and he's got a best friend who's a noble swordsman. Is that one?
kind of, yes. I mean, he doesn't get beaten up by he doesn't work.
Well,
He's
let's
not an
not say
orphanage. It's a great series.
So what I realise right now, thanks Justin, is I don't remember the books I read because I don't remember that plot line. I don't remember it, but apparently I've read it.
Really
you
good.
own it. You gave it to me.
Really good.
Owning it and reading it is two different things. I own lots of rule books. I don't read a single one.
Yeah, that's very funny.
But yeah, he's a good assassin. The master of disguise, even if he doesn't have magical powers.
What makes him the rogue though? What's the roguish bit that kind of
The whole sneaking around and stabbing people.
the
in the back.
assassination bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of hones in on what roguish qualities you were attracted to.
Well, to me, it's kind of hard. You could pretty much say anyone's a rogue if they're breaking the law a little bit. So, but that's the kind of, if we're talking D&D class, that's kind of what I picture.
It's good. It's good.
What about you, Luke?
Oh, so it doesn't have to be just book, does it? It can be movie or anything, right?
Well, yes, I did say fictional. So
Excellent. Okay, so mine would be Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China.
You leave Jack Barton alone.
Yep.
He's a rogue, you think?
Yeah, no, when he goes in to rescue all the girls that have been taken captive, he bluffs his way into that space. He bluffs his way into the brothel. He delivers sneak attack damage with the big statue guy with the knife in the boot. And I think
It's
no
all-
problem. It's all there.
And he's got high dex because it's all in the reflexes.
Absolutely right.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep.
He's all
Good.
Throwing knives.
He's got a bit of use magic device as well.
He has
doesn't
a little hay. Yeah.
Yep.
What about you, Justin?
Look, I am torn between two characters. The first character is Jimmy the Hand from
good.
that,
Jimmy's great.
Yeah, from the
good.
whole Magician series. Jimmy the Hand is one of the best rogues because he is a true rogue. He was a kid off the streets who went and did roguish things and smuggled things. The other one though is Loch Lamora from the Lies of Loch Lamora.
That one I have read.
Yeah, they are.
You remember that one?
They are fantastic. Just all of those guys, Locke, Jean Tannen, the two Sansa brothers. They're all rogues who go out. It's a medieval heist where they go and do confidence schemes on people. So they get into their confidence and then they basically grift them all. It is such a good book if you haven't read it.
So I've got a couple. Axel Foley.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't always been a policeman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Breaking
think-
in.
Yeah, right. I think he's really, really cool, and I like the fact that he's one of those calming rogues that a little bit of policeman in there somewhere.
Nice. Yep.
Artemis and Triri, Dritz's
Oh, yes.
nemesis, was always enamored of. I loved him. I loved
Yep.
the fact that he was the yin to Dritz's yang. He could fight. He would sneak. He would do all the classic rogue stuff, but had kind of that chaotic, like lawful evil. He had his own set of laws.
Yeah,
Is that-
he had his own set of morality.
Yeah, right.
When he didn't kill Danica because she bested him in a fight. and-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really that was really cool. And then I wondered if the guy from Name of the Winds would be considered a rogue.
Kvothe.
Kvothe.
See, I was thinking him as well, but I'm like, nah, he's pretty much a bard.
Bard, right?
Well, he's a bit of everything. I think what I take away from the Name of Wind is he's a disappointment because he hasn't finished yet.
Whoa.
I love
Gosh,
those books.
they're great
Don't get me
books.
wrong,
Yeah.
but that is, I don't know how you are going to resolve that story with one more book and make it as big as I want it to be.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Every detail he goes into, it kind of gets a bit smaller and smaller and smaller. And I love the idea maybe he's telling these tall stories and he's bringing them back into this
But
tale.
we know that's not true because of the stuff that happens in the real world.
Well, Kvothe's saying being a bard, maybe he's talked it up. Who's the guy who's his offsider who's actually telling the story? in
Yeah, the Fae.
pub? The Fae guy.
Yeah.
But maybe the story is a lot bigger and it's a lot smaller in actual life, like most stories are. They've built it up.
Well, it's because there's a complexity of stories. There's many, many stories in the one.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't say Han Solo.
Smuggler?
he's a scoundrel.
What, that's not roguish enough?
No.
What, sneaking around and stealing stuff and
No.
He's a scruffy looking nerf herder.
Lando?
what? Wow.
I'd go Lando. I wouldn't go Han. Han, I'd put more in a pilot or a fighting class rather. Like you grew up in Corellia learning how to fight.
What about
fight a-
Bilbo?
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Wow. Okay. Lucky the one I put forward actually got across the
Well,
line.
no one
It's
knew
really
him.
tough.
Dipped
I know
into the
him.
Game of Thrones.
There.
Who in Game of Thrones?
Oh, I was thinking
Arya?
the Stark girl, yeah.
Podrick.
Oh, dude. Come on now.
Little finger
Arya's good.
or Barris.
Oh, I also love those kind of spy rogues.
Mm.
So on the Belgariad novels, I don't know if you know that, there's like the classic archetypes, and one of the guys comes from the swamp place and he is bald and a eunuch and has spies everywhere and does all, poisoning and all that. I love those kind of rogues that don't go out and stab people on the back, but are nefarious and spy masters and poisoners. I love the idea of that.
Mm.
So that gets across the line, but Han Solo, no.
No,
Smuggler, no, that's not roguish enough.
no.
We are anything but consistent when we answer these questions, Lindsay. How have you not figured this out yet? We have.
I'm just
there is
I'm not
no
noticing
actual,
the trend of no, that doesn't work for my answers.
Oh, your answers have been fine. As long
Yeah,
as you
listen
bring
back.
them from Brent Week's books, they're
Yeah,
fine.
if they're from Brent
Sanctioned.
Weeks books, yeah. Brent Weeks or Brandon Sanderson, I'm set.
Okay. I am reading a Brandon Sanderson book, but that's a question for another week where we talk about the literature that we are reading. Without further delay, let's get back into the game. It seems that you guys and your characters are getting a glimpse into just how hard it is to be a member of law enforcement. And I hope you have a better respect for all of our law enforcement officers out there. Like that was a tough night you guys came off, and now you're on the second night, and you're finding that maybe it's just not this cushy job where you cruise around, eat donuts and drink coffee and talk to a guy in Nakatomi Plaza.
It's not even when we're on duty, it's when we're off duty. It's pretty hard.
Right,
In the
we're
city,
just
full
getting to
stop.
duty.
Yeah.
And I've got a problem. Like, law enforcement in this place got to know that spellcasters need to know what they're facing the next day. Why don't we have our assignment the night before so I can learn the right
True,
bloody
right?
spells?
True.
Well, I guess that with all law enforcement, it's reactionary.
Also, I think it's because, law enforcement requires quite a lot of training, and we've had none of that. We're just like, here's your shit. Go patrol. Like, literally, we just signed up for it.
Uphold
like a
the law.
volunteer service to, uphold the law.
You're right. They don't know how much law we know.
It's such a ridiculous
Premise.
Premise. Sorry, that's what I was after.
Yeah, I think there's a huge hole in the game mastering of this campaign.
Sorry, Brett, could you repeat that? I switched off when you started talking. All right. So after being called to the Pedal District for an interview with Dwarf Sergeant, does anyone know what his name was?
Thunderstrike.
Nope.
Thundercats.
Thunderback.
Thunderback.
Nivoli Thundercrack.
Nivoli Thunderback. You were brought along to a murder investigation of an antique dealer. Do you remember his name?
Virgil
Virgil Aldane.
Virgil Aldane.
But we didn't solve that. We've got given another task.
Yeah, well, it seemed that
they're
Sergeant
connected.
Thunderback.
It's going to turn into a cold case soon.
You got 24
Cold
hours.
case, Iceman.
He only gave you the badge so he could take it away immediately. Now hand it back. You've got 24 hours to solve the case. No, it seemed that during that investigation, it was that when the sergeant was sort of assessing your abilities before you came under attack by 2 large skeletons. That was fun.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't at all.
Well, after that
We
fierce...
fought a scorpion already,
Yeah, well...
surprisingly.
I enjoyed the skeletons more than the scorpion. The scorpion was a real
I
pain in
didn't
the ass.
enjoy either.
Yeah. And again, going back to the law enforcement, they only ever arrest one person a night and then they're done.
The rest
Like,
is
we've
paperwork
used
then.
up all of our energy. We can't do any more law enforcing. We've done it now
It's a whole night of paperwork.
That's right.
Yeah, Pierre is off doing the paperwork.
for all of you. Well, anyway, after
She's gonna rock up on
She's
watch
our
and no one
PA,
else is
yeah.
there. She's like, where the fuck is everyone?
So she's been put back out on the foot patrols. After that fierce battle with the skeletons, you saved the sergeant's life because he was trapped under that cart, remember? And you got him out of there. And then he hired you as regular members of the Night Watch. You are no longer on probation. You are no longer voluntary members. You've passed that first hurdle of the Night Watch.
We don't know what the terms are for that, right? We just gone, you've got a promotion. Here's all this
Here's a
extra
badge.
work, we got a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Did we
that's...
get the same pay or do we get paid more now?
No, you actually just got the job. You were on probation before, so they were on trial. That's why you had the flare that you could send up to get rescued by the actual watch. And you're not the actual watch. You're Night Watch, which is lower than the actual watch.
So we're not the,
So we're getting
we're not
paid
the
the same.
volunteer night watch.
You are not volunteers anymore.
Even though we're getting paid previously, it was a volunteer position. We could rescind at any time.
That's right.
Probational.
Now we can't rescind our
Yeah.
commission,
But we're still getting paid
but we
the
still
same.
get paid the same.
But you still get paid the same.
So we at
Get
least
paid
get
the
dental.
same and more responsibility. Dental.
No, but you did get a set of manacles each.
That's true.
Were they masterwork?
So we got a backpack, a belt, manacles, whistle, and 50-foot of rope. Justin was going to send us the
You
rest
say
of the
belt?
list.
What do we get a belt for? I don't have a belt.
A bell.
A bell.
I heard belt. Sorry. Yeah.
I heard belt as well.
He's written down belts,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's actually a bell.
I was waiting for the list in between sessions, but it never came.
Yeah, that's true. Well, sometimes, GMs get a little busy with finding ways to kill you all.
All I know is I have a fancy new jacket
Mm-hmm.
Do
that
you?
just looks cooler.
Oh, yeah, we got, yeah.
Are you pinning your badge onto said jacket?
Yep.
Do we have to wear the stupid N on our arms at the same time?
No, this replaces the band that you wear on your arms because this is the official version of that.
I have to
Can
do
we have it?
myself.
Can I have it in my pocket and like kind of flash my badge when I need to?
If
On
you-
the belt. Can I have the belt? I'll put the belt on and have the badge on my belt. Yeah. Dibs on the belt.
the coat.
Yeah.
Gross.
I'm just wearing the belt and the coat, okay?
Where are you going to put the manacles?
The manacles.
Young man.
Where did those manacles come from? It's 50-foot of rope that I'm going to ask next.
No, gross. Sergeant Thunderback looks at each of you, stops, taps his pipe on the bottom of his very worn boots and says, "Now that you're official members of the Night Watch, I've got a job of utmost importance and secrecy for you. You see, we've been requested from the higher-ups in the government to lend some aid to the Black Cross Museum, and this request is not really a request, you know what I mean. It's proven also to be a bit of a thorn in our sides. If you haven't already put things together, that body that we found earlier is the brother of one Nigel Aldane, curator of the Black Ross Museum, and I'm inclined to believe that there's something connecting all this, though I'm not sure what it is. I've just got one of those feelings in my boots. What I do know, though, is that I can't trust many people who are left here in the watch. It's been too many coincidences and happenstances, and I've reason to believe that corruption spreads through the ranks. For this reason, new recruits, you who know nothing, and haven't been around so far to really get their claws into you. You are perfect for the next task that I've got in hand. Any questions about that so far?
No, just point us in the direction you want us to go.
Just how deep do you think this corruption really goes?
Not sure.
Who's at the top of the corruption? Where can we make some acquaintances at the top of the list?
I mean, if he knew who was at the top of the corruption, I don't think he'd need us.
Where were you last night?
That's very astute. Now, continue following me down the street and you turn a corner and you can see a small house that seems mostly out of the way, abutting a series of high walls that separate the estates that are around the Petal District. Remembering that the Petal District is a high-class area, so all of the estates in the Petal District are surrounded by walls, and it just so happens this is an intersection of 3 walls, and there's a small house that is down an alleyway. The house itself is quite old. It looks like it's been here for a little while. It looks like it's in need of a lick of paint, and that nobody really lives there. Thunderback looks at you and he says, "This house was once a servant's quarters, but its position makes it very suitable for our needs. Now, let's get inside before the veil hits."
As we turn the corner, I want to do a perception check to see if anyone's following us.
Okay.
That's a 12.
A 12, you can't see anyone that's around or looks like they're following you.
Is there some kind of knowledge on approach that you can kind of go, all right, access points would be from here and here. Here's how you shore up the security of the house.
Even looking
Security
around,
check?
like you're having a look because it is surrounded. So the house, the only way to get into this house is down the alley that you're walking along, and the alley is about 70 foot long. So if you're in the house, the only way you can get towards the house is walking up that alley because of the high walls that are on 3 sides of the house.
Only one way in, only one way out.
So entering this sturdy yet simple house, you find that there are already 3 people sitting in the front room, all wearing the uniforms of the Night Watch. They all look like they've got those same jackets that you were given. Those jackets all look like they're in varied states of newness. Like some of them probably not just open tonight with their tag still hanging off them like yours are, but they don't look like they've seen a huge amount of wear. There's a tall and lean half elf who rests against a wall just at the back, a longbow standing at her side, and she's chatting very quietly with a halfling who holds a dangerous looking crossbow. And standing next to one of the boarded up windows of the house, sort of looking down the alleyway on approach, there's a human that looks like he's got a massive scar on his cheek.
Looks like he's got a massive scar on his cheek, or he's got a massive scar on his cheek?
He's got a massive scar on his cheek.
Bigger than mine, or
Try and rub it
that's
off, I
insane?
dare you. Click your thumb, go on.
Can I just skip you back a bit? So when we were talking to Thunderback,
Yep.
can I do a sense motive just to see, like, is he like exceptionally concerned? Does he look worried, like that the corruption is a serious problem, or is it like a more of an inconvenience and that this kind of thing happens often and we've got to clear house?
I guess for you, it's the corruption. Yes, it's an inconvenience, but he knows it's there and he's trying to circumvent it. So it's not like, I don't know how you can measure that in the.
Oh, just to see, does he seem fearful? Like, when we're talking about it, does he seem like exceptionally concerned?
In what way? For his life or something?
Yeah,
or?
like it's got to the degree now that it's really a danger.
No, you get more of the idea that he just doesn't know who to trust.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And things are moving in motion. I mean, it's corruption. I don't know how to gauge the measure of somebody who's worried about corruption, because he knows that there's a taint inside of the watch and he's just got to deal with that. So, it's not like he's getting pressure to become corrupt or anything like that. Don't laugh at the word taint, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 3. We're relieving them. They're pissing off now, right?
No, they're in here for the watch. They look like they've just arrived.
Well, then we will make our acquaintance.
Okay.
Hello, good to make your acquaintance, madam. Your name is?
She looks at you and she kind of doesn't look you in the eye. She kind of looks up, looks away, and she mumbles, "Lemon.
Sorry, Lemon.
My name is Glemon.
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 Glemon, pleasure to make your acquaintance. Have you been on duty long today? And you, young man, another halfling in the room. Good to see the little people coming about.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean, another halfling?
See this
What
one.
does that mean, though?
See the one behind me?
Yeah, but what does that mean?
no,
He's a
'cause I'm
good
behind
friend of
you.
mine.
What are you implying here?
I like halflings.
Who are you?
My name is Flopsy,
And what are you doing here?
and your name is.
I expected.
I'll be asking the questions around here.
I
We
expect-
will ask the questions.
I expected you some more new wet behind the ear recruits.
It's possible, yes, we're new, but your
Thunderback. Why?
your name.
The name's Wilkett. Roger Wilkett. Are you laughing at me?
Hey,
Is that funny to you? Is it?
Is that a Roger with a J or a G?
Why is that funny?
Well, back in my hometown, when someone wants to confirm something, they go, Roger Wilkett.
He just stares dryly at you and says, "You think that's funny?"
Yes.
Roger, is that with a J or a G? Are you a J or a G, Roger?
Roger.
And Roger looks straight at Thunderback and he says, "And this is what you've got to help us for the night."
And you could say, oh, then that's a lovely scar on your face. How do you come by that? Your name?
My name's Norwell Grinner. Grinner by name and Grinner by nature.
So they're going to be with us on our shift, are they?
Well, Thunderback, after introductions, the sergeant informs you that Glewin and Roger, the half-elf and the halfling, are to be stationed outside. So they're essentially your overwatch. So they're going to be outside. They've got the ranged weapons. They're going to be monitoring the house on the way in. So they're going to be looking down the alley.
Female?
No, the half-elf. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's female. So, Miles, you better make your move quick because I'm pretty sure she's going to be dead before the night's out.
Yeah. So after introductions are made, the sergeant basically informs you that the two ranged characters, Glewin and Roger, will be outside so they can keep an eye over the alley. You and the other men in there, Norwell Grinner, will be inside the actual house so that you can monitor what happens inside because there is an artifact that is locked beyond a door. He says to you the door is locked. He doesn't expect that you would need to go inside.
Is there any other access to that room that the artifact's in?
Yeah, so the house itself has a few rooms, but this room is right in the middle. It doesn't abut an external wall, and they have shored up the walls a little bit and put quite a nice lock on the door so that they can.
So what about the roof? The
have something
ceiling of the
inside.
room, is that linked to the floor above?
There is no floor above. That's it's
the
a
roof.
it's a one-story house.
So the room in the middle of this building
Yes,
has no contact with any of the external walls
that's correct.
or the ceiling?
No, it needs the ceiling to hold up the walls.
Right, so it has contact with the ceiling.
Yes.
So potentially somebody could come
And the
to
floor too. If
come
that's
to
if
the
you're
roof-
going to go for
Yeah,
those
no,
two
just-
dimensions,
Yeah. I just need to be sure because if we're guarding it, I want to be sure that I know what potentially
yeah.
routes could be taken.
The thing is, he basically says to you that the four of you will remain inside the house. Your job is to patrol the house, make sure no one comes in. Those guys are going to hold the alley off. So if anyone comes down the alley, especially through the Vale, that gets a bit tricky. And between the six of you, it should be fine to spend the rest of the night here. You'll be okay. He also says that you will be getting one delivery only. In a couple of hours, someone will come and bring you dinner. So he doesn't expect anyone will have to leave. Your job is to stay inside for the entire night. Their job is to stay outside for the entire night and keep it safe. The way he's talking, he doesn't expect that there's going to be anything, that it's going to be a pretty easy thing.
So Reg walks up to Thunderback.
Yep.
And kind of like very quietly says, "Do you trust these others here?"
I trust them as much as I trust you. It's really hard to know who to trust at the moment, but they've all passed some tests that I've put in. As much as you can trust someone.
When will handover be, and who would we expect for that handover?
You'll be relieved in the morning first thing.
And by you or by someone else?
At daybreak, there'll be a party. You'll know who they are. They'll come in force. They'll be here to remove the artifact and move it to the next safe house.
It's exactly that kind of sloppiness that causes problems.
How will we know it's the right crew?
You'll know that it's the right crew. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not the kind of information that you just give out willy-nilly
Oh,
to
yeah.
someone, because that's the kind of information that when it's released can cause a bit of trouble.
We-
You will know that they are the watch to relieve.
You are using our judgment to assume that we know who is going to be the relieving party.
You're being quite cantankerous for no
Sorry.
reason.
I'm just checking.
Sorry. He gets a bit like that. Well, the only reason we're asking is we had a run-in with some people pretending to be the watch last night.
Aye.
So he's just wanting to make sure that we don't give it to the wrong person, that is all.
That's all right. Look, it's also something we've thought of. But if I give you all of the catchphrases and all the things that you need to know now, that's how leaks happen.
Okay.
You will know that they are here for the right reasons. Let me just say that.
Okay, well, let's get to a guarding, as they say.
All right. Are there any questions?
Have we set up? We've all got bells. Is the bell the warning that somebody's coming down the road? We wouldn't expect anyone else to come down the alleyway. It's just this house. Is that the premise here?
Yes.
Great. No, I'm fine.
So obviously, we're not allowed to see inside the room.
It's locked already.
Can I touch the sides of the walls of that room to get a sense of whether I think they're thick walls?
You think that the walls have been reinforced. Essentially, as you're walking around the house, you can see the house is kind of an older style, what would have been a servant's quarters. The carpet here is kind of ripped up and worn in places, and you can see floorboards through it. The walls here, some of the walls have gone into disrepair and the plaster's fallen off them. But that one room in the middle of the house, it's been shored up. There's been work done recently to ensure that that room is the most secure.
Okay. Just wondering if I can attentively be able to hear what goes on inside the room if anybody gets in surreptitiously.
All right.
Like
so,
a dimension door or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
So
I do.
without jumping all over the place, Sergeant, who is standing there now while you have this conversation, leaves unless you have any questions for him. You know your duty. You know what you've got to do.
We do.
Keep it safe. Is it safe?
Keep an eye on these three.
Yeah, and without further ado, he kind of leaves the place, leaving you to the house itself. Now, you have a quick look around the house. I have actually got a map for you so that you can visualize what that looks like. Not that this is going to help you very much. The house is essentially a 4-bedroomed house with a living room at the front. Entryway comes into a living area. There is only one door out of that living area, which gets to a hallway. That hallway has a few doors off it, one into a storage room where inside there is some tables and chairs and a lantern, which essentially is where you would probably expect to do most of your watch posting. Adjoining that room is the central room that is locked. And then there is a hallway that goes all the way around that in a U with 2 rooms off that were once bedrooms.
So where are we stationed in relation to this map?
You're in this house.
Right.
So you are currently right now in the living room near the front doors of the house. The halfling and the half elf both exit the doors.
Are they going to be waiting down the end of the street? Is that their
Their job is
rooftop?
Their job is to cover the alley. So they head outwards to
And
cover
I'll
the
ring
alley.
a bell if someone's coming.
Is there a fireplace?
Yeah. There is a fireplace, but it's boarded up. So
Yeah.
the windows for all the external windows have got boards across
Okay.
them, and they are well thickly curtained. Obviously, the room that's at the back is chosen to be an area where you guys can wait and have light because you can't see the light from outside. So should you light up the living room, for example, that light will bleed out onto the street and people will see that the house is inhabited. So there is a room at the back with a lantern in a table. There's a deck of cards that are sitting on that table. Someone's here and they've realized that there is a bit of a stakeout that is about to happen.
Is there in any of these windows that are boarded up, is there enough room to get Tippy to fly in and out of?
No. They're all enough, like you can see through them, but the cracks are only maybe a centimeter or two.
Okay, so I have a question
most.
then it's a DM
Yes.
rule justification. So I can cast spells I can store a spell in my familiar and they can cast it from the familiar itself. If I store a cantrip,
Is that a witch thing?
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
if I store a cantrip in my familiar,
Mm-hmm.
can it cast that cantrip as many times as it wants? Because my idea was if Tippy could get in and out, I could literally have Tippy sitting on one of their shoulders outside and casting message every 30 minutes. So I can just keep messaging them.
That's cool.
But But at the moment, I'd only be able to cast it for once and then not be able to do it again for half an hour.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about that witch ability. I would have to look at that a little bit more, but I would assume in the way that
It's the same way the wizards and that do it. They
Yeah,
can
I
store
would
a
say-
spell in their familiar to be cast.
no,
Yeah.
no, wizards can share spells with their familiars, which means if the wizard's within 5 foot of their familiar and they cast a spell, it'll affect the familiar as well.
No, that's not that.
What if we looked through the windows and cast message directly at those people?
That's true. Can we see them from?
They're going to do their best to hide. So,
But if we know where they are,
if you know where they are, that could happen as well.
I'm going to cast a message on Glemon before
Okay,
she leaves and just
all right.
keep that going. Just let us know if you have anything for the next 30 minutes. And if you let us know where we are, where you were sitting, we'll try and cast it again.
Cool. Easy peasy. Sergeant Thunderback's just left. He's obviously given you your assignment. What's the first thing that you're going to do?
So I think, we're going to be in the back room most of the time, or
Yep.
we're going to be doing patrols.
I would suggest one in the corridor, looking like pacing up and down the corridors.
Well, there's no light, remember?
Yep.
So I'm out. I don't have
any light. Tippy does.
but we can't cast light because then it's seen from the outside.
That would be me then, right?
I can leave Tippy in there to
Have you got dark vision?
No, but it still can help detect things.
Well, I've got dark vision. I can
I don't know
stay
what
in the
birds
corridor.
have.
But can you have Tippy with you, and then you can shout at Tippy? And
Well, no, we can put it elsewhere. Tippy can shout itself.
what I'm saying is, if Flopsy gets bogged down with something, we need some way of him being able to communicate. Unless the house is small enough that we would.
a yell should be able to get you guys out.
Yeah,
if there's
so
an
it's not a
intruder.
huge house.
Cool.
So Tippy
It's a servant's quarters, so it's a very modest sized house. Even while you guys are talking about that, you notice that Grinner disappears out the back room down into the hallway. Just kind of looks up, walks, and you can hear his footsteps walking away down the corridor.
All right, Reggie's going to sit down with his back to the wall of the little room that the item is actually in, cross his legs,
Yep.
and start to meditate.
Okay.
Grinner. Excuse me, Grinner. Excuse me. What's the plan of attack here? What's your
What do you mean, what the plan of attack?
You're walking around. Can you see in the dark down there if we
We're
go?
supposed to patrol this place, right?
Yep.
So I'm checking out all the windows, make sure they're all secure, right?
Great. Will you check the doors and the rooms and all the things?
It's our job, isn't it?
And then will you come back and sit in this room or will you hang out in the corridor?
I will go with Grinner and I'll leave Tippy in one of the rooms.
Why don't we leave Tippy in the front room
Yeah, in the front. Tippy's got low light vision.
where the door is
So I'll put Tippy in there above the door, sitting on like a little
on the ledge?
curtain ledge or
So
something.
Perfect.
this is
Nice.
a really good place to sort of talk about perception checks. So I'm going to assume that while you guys are on watch, because you're on active duty right now, that you are taking 10s on your perception checks unless you want to do something on top of that. So just as an ambient perception, because you're on guard the entire night, you're going to be, I'm going to assume you're taking 10.
So Reg is going to, like I said,
with
sit there
with a taking 10,
Yeah.
what would your scores be?
20.
Okay.
Reg's would be 20.
So Reg, yours is 20. Miles, what's your taking 10 perception score?
9. But Tippy's will be 15.
Okay, so Tippy's will be 15. And what would yours be, please, Flopsy?
17.
So Flopsy. Yeah, so look, just while you're walking around, like I assume that I'm not going to make you make perception rolls for every second of it, but you're just on guard. So your awareness is so high up that you're taking 10s. If there is anything else, obviously you'll get perceptions. If you want to make a perception check, you can do so. But this is just general noises, general senses.
That was my idea with Reg sitting down and getting into that meditative state, just being like opening up his awareness to everything that's around him.
Yeah.
It's sound wise more than anything else, without the distractions of sight.
So just making sure that you can hear. So that's the idea of being able to do that.
Flopsy's going to take his bell and the rope and a little bit of stuff he's got in his pack and try and put a little trap on that front door so it goes ding-a-ling-a-ling when the door opens, and he'll see if one of the guys will loan him their bell and do the same on the internal door to the locker
Have
room.
you got disabled device or
I
any
do.
kind of trap making skills?
I've got a disabled device skill.
I just found something cool. So I just found out when Tippy is actually on my shoulder.
Within 5 feet, you get +2 to
Yeah,
perception.
so that takes me to a +1. But Tippy's not on my shoulder at the moment.
Yeah. So you get. Have you not been factoring that in?
No.
That's why most spellcasters don't let their familiars out of their 5-foot range, because you get a whole heap of benefits when your familiar's right next to you. As soon as they leave, they get vulnerable and your awareness goes down.
Can I take my time on a disabled device check to set up a little trap on the 2 doors?
Yep.
Take 20?
There's a chance of failure for it, so
Cool. Roll for it?
yeah, just roll for it.
I think I'll do better than 10 is what I'm saying. External door, the front door, natural 19.
Oh, nice. What does that get you to?
26.
Nice.
Internal door, natural 14, 21.
Okay. So Flopsy jerry rigs some ropes with some bells.
Ding-a-ling-a-lings.
They go across the doors themselves, and you kind of have this house to yourself. Every now and then, Grinner will move in, move out. He's like slinking around. He doesn't like to stay still.
I was going to patrol with Grinner because of my crappy perception, so I'm just going to patrol with him. And go, I'm new to the watch, so I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to shadow you and see. You tell me what I need to do and help me.
So the first thing that he does, he walks out. You can see he's flipping a knife. He's got a knife in his hand. He's kind of rolls it between his fingers up and down. And he's very a skittish kind of guy, kind of looks through the windows. He's going to each window and walking out. He spends very little time in that room where Reg is at the moment. And he's patrolling between the 2 bedrooms, which have external windows, and the front room, which has an external window. So he's doing a lot of patrolling through there.
Grinner, how's your sight in the dark?
I can see all right.
Can you see in the dark or do you need light?
Look, I can see as well as I possibly can in the dark. What is that supposed to mean?
I can cast a spell that causes darkness. Can you see within that or do you need
Of course I
a
can't
light?
bloody see in darkness.
Right.
Is he all right?
He's not a humie like us. He gets to see in low light, I think it is, or dark vision. I don't know. He's always doing this. I have to cast light spells to get anywhere because he just mopes around in the darkness.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you. How about you keep him away from me?
I would if I could.
I don't think that he and I are going to get on.
Okay. Flopsy, why didn't you go patrol over the other side of the house?
Sure. Well, so Reg, are you going to stay in that back room? Great. You guys are walking around. Do you want me to wait in the front room with Tippy or in one of the 2 bedrooms? I noticed there's no privy.
Yeah, there is a privy. There's definitely a privy. So this room, just behind the living room, off one of the doors off the main corridor, is your
I thought there was a
water closet.
storeroom. Sorry.
No. So there's a back room that's near this room, but yeah, there's a water.
So for
definitely
those
a
listening at home, you walk into a front door. There's a big front entryway. There's a doorway at the back of that, almost directly opposite. Corridor to the left that goes in a U shape. In that U shape is 2 rooms: the central room and the room behind it that Reggie's sitting in, and then 2 bedrooms on the bottom end of the U shape with 2 doors in it and a storeroom next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Flopsy, why don't you go check the privy out and make sure there's nothing untoward going on in there?
Yeah, it's a good idea. Go.
You can get all the shit jobs all the time. Privy, go into your privy, shit, fucking.
I should keep him busy for a while. Sorry, I should have read my familiar better. Grants me a +3 bonus to diplomacy as well.
Hello, face.
I thought you had factored
I got
that
+4
in.
now, so I've taken that lead.
Isn't that why you chose a thrush?
A thrush?
Isn't that's the bonus for the thrush?
Well, if you've got
familiar,
thrush,
isn't
that's
it?
you've obviously got very good
Is
diplomacy.
the diplomacy is what
Or
you
bluff.
get? You get a +2 diplomacy.
A cranberry bonus.
Anyway, now's not the time for Lindsay to discover new things about his character sheet.
3 levels, buddy. 3 levels of.
3 levels. You're inside the house right now. What are you guys going to do? You've been given your job.
I'm going to be patrolling with Grinner.
Mm-hmm.
So Reggie's just entering like a state of trying to just be very perceptive to what's around him, just to keeping his senses as open and attuned as
I'll
possible.
take the front room.
And Flopsy sitting down in the front room with Tippy, I assume.
Yep.
And Tippy.
Unless you want Tippy on your shoulder and I can take the front room.
Yeah, okay. I'll take Tippy on my
Do
shoulder.
that. That way you guys get light whenever you need it.
Yep.
And he he's not patrolling as such. He's kind of moving from one. He stands at the window. He looks out the window. The fog of the veil eventually rolls in, covering a lot of that alleyway, cutting your vision substantially, and you can't really see anything outside because it's still that 30 foot of vision that you can see.
Are you able to maintain connection to Roger and Glemon outside?
Yeah, can we see Glemon? Like-
Once the veil rolls in, you won't be able to see those guys at all.
As it starts to go, I'll be like, Clement, I can't see you to recast message. Have you got anything to report?
No.
Okay. Stay safe. Good watching.
Okay. Over.
Bye.
Oh, and there's like 2 grade 10 kids say goodbye on the telephone.
To say, I love you.
Hang on. You hang on.
So you're inside the house. Everything goes fairly well for quite a period of time. I'd just like you all to make a perception check.
Oh, no, you are. Okay.
Tippy as well?
I'm happy with my roll.
17 for Reg.
Yep.
27.
Oh, Miles got a 4 and Tippy got a 20.
So got a 20.
Reg has started to doze off a little bit while he's been meditating.
So, Flopsy, you hear a noise from the rear of the house.
I will go to the rear of the house, trying to find Grenna and Miles on the way.
Okay, so you grab the other guys, you go to the back room. As you get to that end back corridor, you see just standing down the back there's a lone rat just there. You see it kind of scratch into the floor and it disappears a little bit under the carpet.
Kudzu.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's a rat. It's either got something to do with kudzu or it's just a rat. They have rat problems in this city. We know that.
Just normal holes in the carpet and stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't kill it. I mean, we can look. Is it a rug or is it a carpet?
It's a carpeted. So essentially they've opened up this corridor and they've built a wall on the inside to make sure that the back end of these rooms don't hit an external wall. And there's a corridor just left over behind it. And it's got rugs and carpets all down it. And especially down the end of this, you can see that a few rugs have been piled up and a bit of junk is down the end of the corridor.
Let's do a little explore through the junk in the end of the corridor.
Okay, sure. We go over and start kicking aside something.
Okay, you walk, as you kick that first rug, it flips over and you see a ton of rats. At that point, the rats all scurry straight up from the floorboards under the rug where they've been nesting, and a swarm of rats fills the entire corridor.
Can you pick another vermin?
Did you hear what he said?
Pick
He said,
another vermin.
a swarm of rats. I fucking hate swarms.
So this is a squirming, rolling mass of
Bombs
squeaking
away.
rats which draw closer, teeth flashing and claws scratching in everything that its path. The swarm of rats actually opens to about 10 foot. So you're talking a big 10-foot square of just rats that have popped out of this nest that start to move over. Definitely you, Miles, because you're down there. Who's down there with you?
We were all down there.
Okay, so you took Reg with you as well at that point?
I know. I was staying where Reg was
Reg
staying.
was in the back room.
No.
No, this
We're
is
in the back corridor.
This is
Oh,
the
right.
corridor at the very rear of the house.
So I would assume we got Grenna and Miles and myself down there, and Reg is still
Yep.
on listening duty.
Okay, so the three of you, as this rat swarm comes out, let's roll for initiative.
How the hell?
Reg doesn't need to do it, does he? Because he's nowhere near any of this.
Reg, you are not there, but you can make a perception check for me to see if you can hear this.
How the hell do they get a whole building secured and not uncover a 10-foot swarm of rats?
So little Reg
sloppy job.
falling more into a bit of a slumber, rolled a perception of 14.
Of a perception of 14. Okay. So, Miles, what did you get for your initiative, please?
10.
A 10. What did you get, Flopsy?
13.
Oh, that's not so bad. Can you just roll a d20 for me, please, Luke?
Oh, is it going to be Grinner?
I rolled a 13.
A 13. And moving first is the rats. This conflagration of awfulness that makes Brett physically upset starts to move. It jumps up into a big 10-foot square that gets all three people who were investigating the end of that hallway, taking up the very end 10-foot space of that area. All of you that are in there now have rats that are all over you, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
It's not. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Is there any windows?
It
What?
says boarded up ones.
They're all boarded up ones. So
But
there
in-
are two
in the-
windows in this corridor that are boarded up that go straight into walls. The rats themselves, as they are crawling all over you, Miles, you take 5 points of damage. Oh, Grinner takes 6 points of damage. And Flopsy, you take 1 point of damage. With all of the rats that are over the top of you right now, they are distracting you. But the worst part of this is that rats are known for their disgustingness. Make fortitude saves, please. Ooh. Grinner rolled a natural 19. He's doing okay.
Flopsy rolled a 2. 4.
Wow, that is not.
Haven't even done anything. And I'm about to die.
Miles rolled a 13.
A 13. Okay. Excellent. So you all have rats. Now know that if you're going to cast a spell, Flopsy, that this is not going to work for you. Well, it's not going to work. It's going to be a distraction. And that gives us, Flopsy, it's your go.
Time to Molotov, right?
Flopsy's going to delay and say, get out of the rats. I'm going to throw a bomb.
Flopsy delays. Now it's the time for the guard. So Grinner takes out one of his knives. He slices into one of the rats and then moves 20 feet down the corridor.
1 down, 2,000 to go.
Miles?
Yep.
Miles is going to just move down the corridor, stomping rats as he goes past, like stomping his heavy feet as he leaves.
All right. Perfect. Which
30 feet down the corridor.
leaves an open area with 10 foots of rat. Flopsy, what are you going to do?
Throw a bomb at these rats.
Okay.
It's a ranged touch attack. 17.
17 hits.
That is...
Did you move out of the square? You obviously moved down as well.
I would have just moved out of the rats
Yep.
to throw at the rats.
Cool.
So I could be next to them if you want me to be.
Cool.
But I'm not throwing it on myself for this one. 7 points of damage.
7 points of
Fire
damage.
damage.
You see a whole heap of rats spin and die and crumble and crisp, and that's an audible bang as well that goes along
It's a
with that.
bomb, yeah.
Yeah, so a bit of smoke fills the room. The bomb goes off. Reg, at this point, you definitely hear a bomb blast from the back room.
Okay, so Reg jumps up, draws weapons,
Okay.
but stays where he is for now.
All right.
Just being very vigilant of what's going on.
The rats move up. Flopsy, you are the closest creature to them. They swarm you. For 2 points of damage, you have little rat bites crawling up your leg, rats all over you that are just gnawing on you, biting you, grabbing you, just like a massive piece of Flopsy cheese.
I hate rats, and
Cheesy
I hate
Flopsy.
you for the connection to them, Justin.
That brings us to Grinner. What do you want me to do? This is nuts. I'm only killing one or two of them.
Are you? What have you got? Have you got anything you can do that will take out multiple of them?
No, he's just slicing. He's slashing at them with his dagger.
Is he
He's like,
singing?
there's nothing we can do.
Is there
We've
any-
got to get out of here.
Is there any barrels?
I don't know. What do you mean barrels?
We could
No.
roll a barrel over them like a steamroller.
What the fuck? And he's slicing up. So he's trying his hardest to actually attack the swarm with not much effect. That'll bring us to Miles.
Is there any like barrels or crates or anything nearby?
No, the entire house has been sort of cleaned out a little bit. So there's really minimal furniture in the entire place. The only thing is the table and the chairs in the room that Reg is in.
Okay. I pull out my old duster coat
Mhm.
that I've replaced, and I throw that over the pile of rats.
Okay. So you cover the rats from sight, giving them a bit of leather armor.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I'm going to try and if I got room, start jumping on the coat and stuff.
Yeah. Even then, yes, the coat's going to cover them, but it's not really going to do damage to them.
Slow them
Even
down.
standing them, it'll slow them down somewhat. Flopsy, it's your go.
Go get Reginald, quick. And then he throws another bomb.
Okay.
But move 10 foot down, throw another bomb. Natural 20.
Oh, that's nice.
Natural 1. It's a hit for 8 points of damage this time.
Oh, ouch.
I'm out of bombs.
Okay, Reg, you'll go. You hear all this kerfuffle. A second blast happens and the house shakes a little bit. Dust comes off the ceiling. You're in a room having meditated. What are you going to do?
So Reg is going to move up to the door linking my room and just open it and kind of poke my head out into the corridor to see if I can see what's going on.
You can't see. The corridor that you're poking your head in is the exact opposite. So this is on the back end of the room that you're in. So directly almost behind the room. There's no door on that side. So you'd have to, the big corridor's a U shape. So you have to go around to the other side of the U.
Okay. Yeah, and that's it. Reg is very reluctant to leave his post.
Okay.
He's
So,
like, you know, if
so
I
you
go
open
running
the
out,
door,
there's-
put
I know
your
there's-
head out.
Yeah, I know there's plenty of other people in the complex that can deal with that. If I run out of here, that's the only room adjoining to the room we're guarding that's linked to the external wall.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay where I am.
Sure. The rats swarm again, crawling out from under your coat. Some of them stay behind because you do actually impede their movement a little bit. And rather than getting all three of you this time, they come up and get two of you, which is Flopsy and Grinner.
Grinner didn't run.
Grinner was slashing at them with his joyful knives. Flopsy, you take 5 points of damage, and Grinner takes another 2. Ugh, ugh. I don't like this. Fucking do something.
Get out of here, Grinner.
Grinner withdraws around the corridor, and you see him move almost all the way. You can see like part of his shadow, I guess, from the bits that have caught on fire from the bomb. Move around the corridor. You can see the shadow of him.
Also, there's light now, bits of fire.
It would be. Yeah.
What's going on?
Fucking rats.
Rats.
Yes.
How many?
Fucking swarm of them. Thousands.
So I'm going to think of
Hundreds.
Kudzu myself straight away. I'm going
Could be at least 5.
Shit.
2.
There's 10 foot of them.
Miles, what are you going to do?
Seeing that there is fire anywhere, Miles is going to pull out a torch,
Yep.
trying to light the torch from one of the bits of fire.
Okay. You can spend this round pulling it out and lighting it up. Cool. You have a lit torch in your hand at the end of this round. Flopsy, what are you going to do?
Flopsy's going to withdraw to as far as he can to get back to Reginald.
All right. How many feet would that be?
40 feet.
Okay, so that pulls you around the corridor, but it doesn't gets you almost in front of the door that leads into the treasure room. Let's call that the treasure room door. That's where that door is.
Yep.
So, and Reginald's all the way around on the other side.
Yep. But he'll be coming soon. I know, Reggie.
Reg, what are you going to do?
So Reg, now that we've got somebody else from the group here, is going to say, you stay in here. I'm going to go and check it out. And I'll move around.
All right. So you move past, you see Flopsy in the corridor. You don't see sign of Miles at all.
But Scarface is left in the room that I was in, right?
He's still in the corridor. You had to actually move up.
But I told him
around
that's where I'm expecting him to go.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. The rats themselves, they move up. You're the only person in the room, Miles. So you cop a swarm of rats that go onto your face, biting you for 1 point of damage.
Ooh.
One of them bites your nose and it hurts a lot.
Which room are they in? The one that's...
They're in the corridor around. Let me describe this for you. There's when you move out of that first lounge room. So you go through the front doors, you go out of those front doors into a corridor.
Yep, the one
that
that goes
corridor
right- yep.
has 2 doors that come off it. One's into the privy and one of them's right around down near the dead end.
Yep.
That goes into the room where there's the chair and the cards.
Yeah.
If you follow that corridor, it goes into a U shape.
Yep.
So
So
as you
they're
come
by the
up and you
windows.
turn,
They're up by the windows.
there's a door there that leads into the treasure room. And then if you keep going past the door to the treasure room, and then the 2 in that corridor, there's a door to treasure room on one side and the 2 doors that lead to the bedrooms on the other side. And around the back of that is a dead end corridor with 2 boarded up windows in it. And the rat swarm came out of the end of that dead end corridor.
Yep.
So the rats just hit Miles. You watch Grinner walk down to the road again. You can see that he's dashed inside the room with the lantern in it, and you can hear some rummaging from inside that room. Miles, what are you going to do? You're covered in rats right now.
Miles, with his new now lit torch, is it?
Yep.
Is going to start swinging at the rats.
Okay.
That's an 11 to hit.
So you swing at the rats. Mostly you hit a couple of them, but you don't seem to be doing much in terms of that swarm effect, just because it's a club. Yes, it's doing fire damage, but you
And then move 30 feet down the corridor.
okay, and then you withdraw through that. We'll register all the fort saves in a little while. Flopsy, what are you doing?
Flopsy's going to wait for Reggie to come around the corner. He knows he's coming.
Reggie just passed you. You're standing in front of the treasure room door. Reggie's moved around that corner and he's at least near you. You can see Reggie from where you are.
Reg, I don't feel so good.
Yep, mate. Get back to the original room. Go.
Head back to the original room where Grinner is.
Yep.
If there's any lamp oil or a lamp or something with stuff.
So you move into that room and you can see Grinner one step ahead of you is grabbing some lantern oil and the lantern at the same time, and he looks like he's about to exit the room. So that rummaging that he did was him grabbing a lantern oil.
Great idea. I'll wait here and secure this room. You take them out.
And a bucket. That brings us down to Reg.
So Reg is going to flurry now with a couple of shuriken into the rat swarm.
Yep.
Because I can. That will be a 17 to hit and an 18 to hit.
Yep, both of them strike true onto rats.
So that's 6 points of damage.
6 points of damage is from one or?
So that was two. I flurried two, so
yep,
I hit with
so
both.
separate your damage for me.
What did I say? 6 points. So it's 3 points each.
3 points. Oh, of
It's
course,
Luke.
Yeah,
it's 3
it's
points.
D2. I roll high for both and add one. Yeah.
You take out two of the probably 300 rats that are sitting
but
there.
those two that literally were square between the eyes, the shuriken just splits them in half
they
and
were
they just
amazing
flop open
shots.
either side. Yeah, so it looks like I've doubled them in number, but
They are amazing shots.
Entrails
You
everywhere.
you get the idea after doing that did very little to the impact of a mass of rats that are around. You're going to have to do something that's going to affect an area of rats if you are.
so I pull out more shuriken.
Out of game, if Justin's not holding a pencil while you give him damage, it's probably not doing much.
Oh no, I
I
killed
hate
two
swarms.
rats.
This is the thing. As soon as he said swarm, I was like, "Fuck!" We got the bombs was the only thing, and torch.
We just need to hit whatever rat is kudzu, and then we're good.
yeah. Justin, can I make a perception check to see if there's a chief rat?
Red-eyed rat.
A red-eyed rat. Yeah. Calling all the shots, rat.
Dirty rat.
Roland rat.
The one thing that Reg learnt is that a swarm is a group of creatures that isn't
Reg might
really
have,
a
but Luke
center.
hasn't.
Yeah, a center of mass that you can aim into.
So I can't miss. So I don't even need to roll to hit.
Well,
is what
you
you're
can't
saying.
miss, but you could keep on swiping at these rats all day long. And you think of the hundreds of rats that are in front of you. It will take forever for you to damage them enough. And you would probably perish as they start gnawing and trying to bite your eyes and ears off.
So
and
I
take your
can't trip
toes
them
and-
either. Then basically,
You could trip one of them, but it's not going to
So
affect the
the
entire
combat you've
swarm.
created again. Once again, I cannot sneak attack. I
I didn't create it. The world
Fucking
did. Luke.
unbelievable.
It would be better if you tripped yourself and landed on the rats.
You're going to run out of shuriken real quick.
Yeah, I didn't create this, Luke. The world. The world runs itself, really.
Justin's merely a vehicle.
Third combat
for-
encounter, and it's pitched to fuck me.
What actually happens though is that the rats, there's a whole heap of rats, and one in particular looks
Here we go.
like he has been trained by his master, and he lived in the sewers for a long time.
I'll target that one.
He also pulls out some shirt. No.
He's got four turtles behind
Two
him.
shuriken you threw at him.
The entire rat swarm moves forward, engulfing you in a sea of rats. Now, this is a lot nicer because Reg is a lot smaller, so it's a lot more effective in scariness. Reg, you are bitten by rats so badly you take 5 points of damage, and you've got various cuts and wounds all over your body. And
Is that an
you're-
area effect attack? Because it's
it's
an
not
area
an
effect
area-
creature.
No, it's
So hang on, it gets the best of both worlds. This is bullshit.
Essentially, it just moves into your square and swarms you. So it
Doesn't
just
know anything about
Doesn't
personal
even need
space.
to roll to hit you.
it
Fucking
really
bullshit.
doesn't. It just
There's
does
no defense.
damage.
Right.
Just does damage.
How much? 5.
5 points of damage. That brings us to Grinner. Grinner grabs the flask, hands it to you, and says, "You go pour this over him, and I'll light him up."
While they're on me.
So,
Choice.
so looks
No
at
problem.
Flopsy, hands off a little flask of oil to
Yep.
Flopsy, says, "Here we go."
Let's
and
go.
Moves
Don't worry about getting me burnt.
out. Miles, what are you going to do?
Miles is going to channel the guy cooking rats in the docks, and he's just going to slowly wave his torch over Reggie in his rat-filled form and try and burn as many rats off as he can.
Like you're anointing Reggie with you.
And try and burn a few rats. Just make a bit of an attack roll for me. I don't know what a flaming brand is, so I'm making this up on the fly.
9.
That's your attack roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, your attack roll. You kind of hit Reg more than you hit the creatures and kind of burn him.
How does he hit me? I'm engulfed. I'm underneath the rats.
Yeah, but
I feel like you're just fucking stitching me up
if
here,
there's an
Justin.
elbow sticking out, he managed to skull that elbow. Like, he's very bad at this.
I like swing and the rats like part.
They see it
And
coming.
you see my face.
They don't like this at all. Flopsy, it's your go.
Flopsy's going to take that said oil and run back to the rats.
Yep.
And he makes it to the rats.
Sure.
He's going to throw the oil at the rats.
Yep.
Now, what you may not know is Flopsy has the throw anything feat.
That's nice.
That's very cool.
So Flopsy gets a +1 bonus on attack rolls made with thrown splash weapons all the time.
Excellent.
And I can throw things I have at hand, so I don't suffer any penalties.
Yep.
For improvised ranged weapons.
It's usually a -4, isn't it? For him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty cool. I've always looked at that feat and wondered how is that going to ever be useful?
Here we go.
Hear it?
Just doing some maths. Hold on a second. I can add that. And we'll carry the 148. 13 to hit. Touch.
A 13 touch splashes wide. You get a 5-foot square of them, but you kind of overthrow a little.
Phew.
Reg, it's your go.
Okay, so I'm going to move to the opposite side. Reg is going to move to the opposite side of the swarm.
Okay.
So where it came
So
from.
where the oil just landed?
No, I thought that landed.
Further away.
Yeah, I'm going to move towards the oil to try and entice them to the oil.
Okay, so you move further out, just stepping out of the range, shaking rats off as you go. The rats want to follow you. They definitely do. And they do so granting 10 points of damage to you. Oh, no,
Are
sorry.
you kidding?
Sorry, did I say 10? I just
You
added
did.
up your last 2 bits of damage.
Yeah, right.
Adding up. That was the GM in his head, figuring out how much damage you've taken from a swarm.
I've just got to go change my pants. Jesus.
Yeah, the swarm bites you for another 5 points of damage.
That's 2 big bites. That's 2
There's
big
2
hits.
massive amounts of damage. You then see Grinner running around the corner, and he just tosses the lantern in his hand, smashing it on the floor.
Is it slow
oil
motion?
going
It's
over.
like a Zack
It loo-
Schneider moment?
Yeah, it's a Zack Snyder slow motion part. This isn't bad at all.
For who?
On a 15, the oil smashes right dead center in the middle of the rats. And how much damage do you reckon a flagon of oil? I was thinking
Fireball?
1d6. It's a small
A
fireball.
bomb is 1d6 plus your bonuses if you've got them for.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have any bonuses. So you see just fire smatter all over the ground. It lights up the oil that you just threw, Flopsy,
That I'm stood in.
and that you are stood in. Can you make a reflex save for me, please? Reg.
Natural 19, so reflex of 28.
28, you jump out of the way, avoiding all of the fire. The rats themselves get singed, burnt, and you see them, the rest of the entire swarm just run straight back down to the end of the corridor, down under the rug that they first came out of, and they all dissipate and disappear, leaving a smoldering, smoky-filled room full of smoldering carpets and small little spot fires that you can easily stomp out in the next few rounds.
What? Who's in the back room? Guys, who's in the back room?
No one's in the back room, right?
Somebody get in the back room now.
Miles runs to the back room, snuffing the torch as he does.
Okay, Miles runs into the back room. Eventually, you hear a knock on the front door. and you hear,
I draw.
"Is everything all right in there? What's going on?"
Who's that? Piara.
And you hear the voice of the small halfling.
This is Roger. Roger
Oh,
Wookett.
Roger.
We disturbed a rat nest, and a swarm of about 1,000 rats came out and was attacking us.
Just keep it quiet, will ya?
Yeah, sorry.
And then you hear him
Damn you,
Is everything good out there?
look off. Better than you.
Yes, apparently.
So little Reg is now going to do some healing.
Are you perhaps doing it for a group of people or
I
just
cannot
for yourself?
burst. I've used all my bursts up because we didn't rest in the last time, and I am not far off dropping, so I need to heal.
Okay, do it.
Flopsy would walk up to Reg and get, Reg, I don't feel very good.
I'm a bit rough too, but I mean, I can handle it.
Hey, there we go. Right, you want one as well, do you, Flopsy?
Well, if you've got that, or I've got some potions, I can take a potion.
I have
If-
Even
two-
Grinner's asking if you've got
Two
any
cure
healing,
light
mate.
left.
Grinner,
Cure light.
have a potion. Here's a cure light potion for you, mister.
I mean, did we all get? He would have gotten given potions too, Flopsy, when he started. We all got given potions when he started.
8 points for Flopsy.
That'll do me then.
How you looking, Miles?
I'll hold off for a bit.
Okay.
All right. Now's a really good time to just talk about the rat bites. The rat bites that are a little red and flared up. Can I just get all of you to make a fortitude save? Just one more fort save for me. Reg, you need to make 2 because these guys made 1 for the first round. They got bit. Now it's time to make another one.
Okay, for the second bite, I rolled with my fort save. I got a grand total of 23.
Yep.
For the first one, I rolled a 1.
Oh, that's nasty. What was your second one, Flopsy? Better than the first?
You're much better. Natural 20. Thank you very much.
That's excellent. And what about you, Miles?
My both. Was it only a 2?
Yeah,
14 and 14 then.
14 and 14. Okay.
Is
Thank
it a
you
little
very
bit
much.
like other diseases that once you have it, it doesn't matter how much you get it? Like it's like stupidity, isn't it? Once
Yeah,
you've
it's
got
like
it.
the flu. Once you've got the flu, you've got the flu. So you guys have all just rolled your fort saves to very different effects. You're sitting inside this house that still smells a bit of smoke, and the night kind of quietens down a little bit. Reg probably removes himself back into that back room to meditate a little bit more. The other of you continue your patrols, and we'll take up the rest of this night next time we meet.
No, it's the end of the
I
night, right?
hate
I can go to
fucking
sleep.
swarms. Jesus Christ.
Swarms are rough.
Oh, and if we hadn't just fought like something that took 3 or 4 of my bombs out, that
Right,
would
tell me
be
about
totally useless. And all your channels.
They're just rough. Like, what are you like?
It's not my fault you guys don't